Welcome back to Horse Talk Live. I'm Lizzie Iwerson, and today I have two veterinarians here with me who are an integral part of the Equitarian Initiative. You two have been spending a lot of time outside your typical practices at home and spending a lot of time finding out more ways that you can help other people and help their horses, and that in turn helps them because this is the way that they're making a living, these donkeys and horses. And as we mentioned earlier, these animals don't have access a lot of times to the same medical attention that we do here. And and also they don't have access to good food, nutrition. So there's a reason that FullBucket, your company, is involved in how you're going to be able in the long term to be able to help these animals. You go into a community and there's probably these animals need immediate attention, and so you can service that, and the group of your veterinarians can help there. But explain a little bit more about the nutrition, how you can help people keep their animals healthy through education as well as what FullBucket is providing.
While we were on the trip in Veracruz, Rob and I kept kicking ideas back and forth on how can we make the effects of our stay last longer. Mm-hmm. And I think it really became obvious to us, number one, how dependent these people are on their animals. When we had an older gentleman who was led for 2 hours by his grandson up to see us, and we saw him ride up, and we thought not a whole lot of it until his grandson turned the animal around, and we saw that there was a pair of crutches and an amputated leg on the left side. And I mean, it was just an epiphany to us that these people are as dependent on their animals as we are on our cars here. Mm-hmm. And so as Rob and I sort of digested all of this over the course of the 5 days we were down there, it became obvious that there were nutritional deficiencies as well as medical deficiencies. And we were fortunate enough to link up with an equine nutritionist while we were down there, Mariano. And Mariano Hernandez-Gill has a pretty extensive resume in equine nutrition and has studied several of the specific regions of Mexico and the deficiencies of the animals in those, nutritional deficiencies of the animals in those regions, like Rob said a little earlier. And so when we came back, we said, okay, how do we make this all work? And what we came up with was our Care Plus Care program, in which we'll give supplements to animals in need for every supplement that we sell. And those supplements aren't going to be the same supplements that we have here in the U.S. that we're selling for high-performance horses and developing for high-performance horses. They will be specific to the needs of those animals. So now, with the Equitarian Initiative and all of the veterinary care that these animals get, they'll be able to chew their food after getting dental help. They'll be able to absorb the nutrition after mm-hmm. being dewormed, and we're going to leave nutritional supplements with them for a 60 to 90-day period for each animal to increase that plane of nutrition and hopefully bump the body score up so that these saddles fit better and they're able to work a little harder. Or not work a little harder, but be able to cope with the work that
Sure.
they're doing on a regular basis.
So what about the education? How are you educating the folks, the owners of these animals? Do you have farriers that come with you that can teach them about maintaining feet, or?
A lot of the farrier stuff is done through different programs. We talked about the World Horse Welfare and their impact on saddle fitting and on farriery. What we do is we work with the local veterinarians. We teach them. We also teach people, the caregivers. Sometimes it's the ladies in the high desert. Sometimes it's the Mexican cowboys in the beef areas. But we teach them how to care for their animals. Lizzie, you wouldn't believe what they do, what the common treatments are for infection, for itchy skin. They use used motor oil, hot machetes. I mean, there's stuff that is centuries old type of stuff that's been passed down is not good medicine.
Right.
And so half of it is us just trying to say this is a bad idea, and then be able to say, now here's an alternative, here's a good idea, and educate them on what they can use that is locally available. We try not to bring in a lot of stuff that just comes from the U.S., okay? We don't want to bring in a bunch of gizmo drugs and stem cells, what have you. I mean, something that's just totally unpractical. We want to be able to use stuff that is available locally so that the local veterinarians, the local caregivers, they can continue to doctor on these horses after we've gone. So we're just like, you grew up in Montana, sometimes those big cattle ranches, vet's a long ways away. So he's got to go to the cowboys and say, look, your horse runs into this situation, this is how you doctor on it, okay? I can't be here, you can't call me. And it's the same situation. We've got to tell them exactly how to doctor on their animals in a good way, using the resources that are available. We're even looking at, in the future, at FullBucket wants to team up with some botanists to develop these botanical garden kits that we can supply in these areas to give people a holistic botanical approach to. There's a lot of plants that can do a lot of good as far as antiseptics, pain relievers, getting rid of a lot of the discomfort that these animals have from insects. So there's a lot that we can use locally, and that's where we want, you're talking about educating, we want to work on the locals, both on their resources and on their education. We don't want to be in there, show up, hey, we're from America, we come here to save the world, and then a week later we're gone, and they're like, what just happened? You didn't do anything that's going to matter. We have to go back. You can teach them so much, but you still have to go back and service those areas because they don't have the money to keep things going. And we have to come back with the money and the specialized services annually and service these
So
people.
once you go to a community, you'll probably come back in the future to follow up, make sure that everything you did or advise them to do is working correctly? Or?
Absolutely. I think you have to go back. You can't just make it a one-shot deal. People lose faith. You want them to gain your trust. The first time you go down there, they don't trust you. They don't know what you're there for. You go in there, you show them how much you care and what you can do, and then they begin to welcome you. And the more they welcome you, the more they open up their community, and these animals come out of the woodwork for you to service.
And I think a large part of our success down there as equitarians is the ground crews that go in and create those relationships, whether it's local veterinarians or extension agents or agricultural ministers that are in those communities and can say, hey, we're going to have a group come down and see you, and just create that advance notice and that advance trust, and involving the locals as well as the local veterinarians so that we can exchange that information and those skill sets. We learn from them what these animals are eating or what they're not eating. We learn so much from those local veterinarians about what they have to deal with on a daily basis, and our hope is to provide them with some additional skills that maybe they haven't had exposure to, that then they can start to employ in their day-to-day practices. And so that give and take, hopefully, will leave that community with a veterinarian that's more skilled, a local veterinarian that's more skilled, and will leave us with the information that allows us to plan and create a better model for success in the future with these trips.
And are there more opportunities? If you're not a veterinarian, you can still get involved and be a participant. As long as you love horses. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely, absolutely. We have people joining us on this first trip that we have in Guatemala that are not veterinarians, that just love horses. We hope that you come with us, Lizzie. In fact, the invitation is out there.
I would love to take you up on it.
But yeah, it's out there. I mean, all you got to do is care. Now, sometimes you got to have someone that can do some dentistry, but the person doing just some dentistry needs some help too. So you've got to have certain skill sets, but the main core is people have to have a good attitude and they have to care. And if they do that, then by talking to your veterinarian, engaging with and following the Equitarian Initiative on Facebook, through social media, following FullBucket on Facebook, we love to raise up veterinarians that are doing good things, even domestically. I mean, there's people that are taking care of some of our heroes that come back from war and rehabilitating them using horses. There are people that are going out and helping handicapped children, people that have had tough childhoods growing up that are rehabilitated by horses. There are veterinarians that do this every day, and they don't get any thanks or praise, and they don't want any. But we want to raise them up and show them off and say, this is great, because what happens is people get inspired by doing that.
Oh,
when
bet.
you see someone else do that, you want part of that too, and so it's really contagious. So we have some really good colleagues that do that, and we love to focus on them.
Well, it obviously, for you too, it was once you saw what was going on, it was a natural that you wanted to get involved, and now you really are doing so, and hopefully people at home are getting inspired as well. We hope that's what is happening here on Horse Talk Live today. I know that I'm inspired and would love to accompany you on a trip. It's very, very positive. So we're all horse people, helping other horse people. Stick around. We do have to take a short break, but we'll be back with more learning about the Equitarian Initiative here on Horse Talk Live.